Tonight we travel to Japan, a country known for its beauty, its safety, and its pristine wilderness. But beneath the quiet forest, something has awakened. A surge of bear encounters, more aggressive, more frequent, and more unpredictable than ever before. People are being attacked in broad daylight, towns are constantly on alert, and there's a predator that no longer fears humans. Welcome back to Nightmare Situations. Tonight we're going to do a deep dive into what's actually happening in Japan. If you like what you hear tonight, then don't forget to subscribe and let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, let's get into it. For generations, Japan's forest has been home to two species of bears. The Asian black bear, known for its white moon crescent on its chest, and on the northern island, the massive and famously territorial brown bear, cousin to the grizzly. Normally, encounters are rare. There's a kind of mutual respect between the humans and the bears, but they kind of leave each other alone. But recently, that's all changed. Across multiple districts, reports of bears wandering into towns, raiding crops, and confronting residents has surged. The numbers are staggering, sightings higher than any time in recorded history. Attacks that used to happen a few times a year now happen dozens of times. Villagers whisper that the bears are starving. Others say that they've grown to the taste of crops and household waste. Some believe it's climate change, shifting seasons, and shrinking food sources. And then, there are the eyewitnesses, who swear the bears appear fearless. Fearless and watching. Our story begins in the Akita province. Imagine a peaceful rural community, surrounded by dense forests. Generations of families living quiet lives, tending their fields, collecting mushrooms, and walking down narrow forest roads. But last autumn, residents began noticing claw marks on their storage sheds, paw prints near their bins, and rustling sounds after dark that just didn't belong. At first, the villagers just brushed it off. Make sure that you close your bin lids tightly, make a lot of noise when you walk. That would generally scare the bears away. But this time, the bears didn't leave. Soon, they began venturing into people's backyards. Livestock was being attacked. People's dogs were disappearing. And late one afternoon, a farmer spotted a large black bear just sitting in his driveway, unmoving, as if it was assessing the house. The next week, the first attack occurred. A middle-aged man, gathering chestnuts deep in the forest, was ambushed. He survived, barely, but the attack was unusually aggressive, almost predatory. Emergency crews reported that the bear didn't run when it was approached. It stood its ground, watching drag the injured man away. This was not normal behaviour. What happened next in Japan's northern regions was unprecedented. The bears stopped waiting for the humans to enter their forest. Instead, they came to the humans. In several towns, captured security footage shows bears strolling down residential streets, sniffing doorways, wandering past shops, and rummaging through gardens. At one school, it had to shut down for days because bears lingered in the playground, refusing to leave, even after patrol cars circled. One chilling video shows a bear standing upright at a bus stop, as if it was waiting. Another clip, filmed from a second-floor balcony, catches a bear brushing its paws along the side of a home, testing the windows. Parents began escorting their kids to school, with handheld bells and makeshift noisemakers. Some neighbourhoods created patrol groups, walking in lines with air horns and fireworks. But even this didn't deter the bears. Local officials, overwhelmed, pleaded with residents. Please do not go into the forest alone. Avoid all unnecessary travel after dusk. Stay indoors when possible. For many, it felt like the predator was reclaiming a land that it left long abandoned. Among countless reports, some really stand out as being nightmarish. A group of hikers stayed overnight in a small mountain lodge. During the night, they heard scraping sounds along the outside walls, long, slow drags of claws across the wood. The owner assured them it was just a curious bear. But at sunrise, the guests went outside and they found the shed torn apart, the ground covered with enormous footprints that had been circling the lodge repeatedly, almost as if the bear had been waiting for someone to step outside. In another case, a fruit farmer was walking in the fog early one morning to his orchard. He never returned. Search teams later found deep bear tracks pacing around the ladders and baskets, sign of a prolonged confrontation. Experts describe the attack as sustained and not defensive. Something had made the bear linger for far longer than it usually would have. At a popular ski resort, a brown bear was spotted repeatedly approaching the base lodge. Employees attempted to haze it away, but the bear returned every morning for over a week. One morning, a worker stepped out the back door to throw away some rubbish. The bear emerged from behind a snowbank, silent as a shadow, and charged. Only the quick reactions of the other staff saved the man. They used shovels and loudspeakers to scare the bear away. Wildlife specialists later analysed the behaviour, and their conclusion? The bear wasn't scavenging, it was ambushing. So the question that's haunting the experts: why are Japan's bears becoming so aggressive and so bold? Well, there's a couple of theories that we're going to go into. The first theory is that the bears have a lack of food. In recent years, seasonal nut and acorn production has fluctuated. When forests can't support their bear populations, the bears will naturally move towards human settlements. The second theory is a population boom. Conservation experts have helped the bear numbers recover in the area, but now some regions have more bears than the habitat can sustain. The third theory is human encroachment. Rural depopulation has left abandoned towns and empty farmland. That's a perfect staging ground for wildlife to drift closer. The next theory is learned behaviour. Once a bear discovers that farms, compost piles, and bins are easy calories, it will lose its fear of humans. The next theory we're going to talk about is changing climate patterns. Longer warm seasons mean bears remain active, hungry, and mobile for much longer in the year than they previously would have. But there is one more explanation, the one that the locals whisper about. The explanation that chills them to their core. And that's that some bears have tasted human food. But some bears have tasted human flesh. And once that line has been crossed, the fear dissolves. The predator will return to his natural role. Bears are intelligent. They remember faces, they remember locations, and above all, they remember rewards. A single incident, one bin left open, one crop left unguarded, can permanently alter a bear's behaviour. Experts say that once a bear associates humans with food, it's no longer just an animal wandering the forest. It becomes a strategic hunter. And the recent spate of attacks, the fearless behaviour, the stalking, suggests that some bears are no longer simply just trying to survive. They're learning, they're watching, they're adapting, and they're returning again and again. Japan continues to wrestle with its surge of bear attacks. Local patrol teams roam the streets at all times. Wildlife officers stay on high alert. But for many rural residents, the nightmare is only just beginning. Because when nightfall falls over the quiet villages, the forest grows still. You never really know what's watching you from the tree line. A shadow? A pair of eyes? A predator that's no longer as afraid of the humans that built their homes on the edge of its habitat. You've been watching Nightmare Situations. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what you think about this story. And remember that sometimes reality is more terrifying than any nightmare. Thank you for watching.